So John, when we were here for the scout trip, you just about stepped on a rattlesnake. Have you taken any serious precautions to prevent such a potential disaster this time?
Yeah, some snake boots. Can you see them?
yeah. I just videoed them. So you are all set, and that's good. I'm glad to see you have
These things are comfortable and they're waterproof all the way up to here. So
yeah,
they worked. I already took them out into the swamp, the green swamp.
Okay,
in Florida.
You're ready to go. So John, now coming into the map reading challenge, at this point, you've never harvested a buck, is that correct?
I haven't harvested anything yet.
Okay, so you haven't even put a deer down yet. So for you tonight, is it, if it's brown, it's down?
That's the plan.
Okay.
I do have a plan.
Okay.
If I see something and it's going to be a good shot, it's going down.
Okay, good. And do you have like a certain distance that you're going to shoot up to this distance and not beyond that, or what's that thought process for you?
Well, pretty much all the spots I picked took into consideration I'm going to make a 20-yard shot or less. I can shoot out to 40 pretty good.
Right.
So that's not a problem, but I'd rather keep it close.
Yeah.
And of course, get more points.
Exactly. Well, and talking about the points, obviously your mind is set on you want to win, right?
Why not? Why be here?
Absolutely.
I mean, when I signed up for this, I didn't know that this was going to happen. But since
now that it's here,
it's icing on the cake.
Yeah. Well, I wish you the best of luck and good luck with that tree stand that I just gave you, if you decide to use that. God has definitely blessed me this year. I got a bunch of new stands, and so I was cleaning out my shed and I had all these old hang-on stands. I was like, you know what? I'm going to get these out of the shed, and because of liability stuff, I was like, I can't just give these away to people I know, in case there's a strap that breaks. So I took all the straps off and I put them at the end of the driveway with, where the trash normally gets picked up. And I said 5 minutes. These things are going to last 5 minutes. And I went in the house. My wife saw me do it. And she's like, said something. I'm like, those stands will be gone in 5 minutes. And she's like, okay. And I went in. I took a shower because I was, cleaning the shed. Sure enough, when I came out, she's like, you were right. Within 5 minutes, a truck pulls up, stops, a guy gets out, looks around, looks at the stands. He puts the stands in his car and waves at the house and leaves. But I have this. Okay, so that's a funny story.
That's true.
But when I came out of the religious order, like after college, I joined a religious order to figure out if that was my life calling or not. And when I came out, the first thing I wanted to do was get into hunting again. And my friend Scott Harris gave me a climber stand. So if anybody has read my book, Becoming a World-Class Hunter, Bow Hunter's Spiritual Journey, the later half of that book, all of the deer that I hunted and harvested pretty much were with this climber. And I didn't want to have to try to ship this. Let me get this so that the car is in the middle there. I didn't want to have to ship it because the things, it would cost a lot. So I asked the guys on the map reading challenge if anybody wanted it. And John said yes. So John is receiving, this is like a ceremony here. That's what this is, folks. If you weren't sure, we're having a ceremony, which is the low-key ceremony. It's just a matter of handing up. And these are the climbing sticks I'm going to let you borrow for your hang-on while we're here. But here is this is the stand.
Wow, I feel like I should do some fanfare.
Grand Slam. It's I think they're pretty much no longer in existence, this company. There is a phone number on there we could call it and probably get nothing, but
That's
here you go, my friend.
Cool, man.
This is the Grand Slam. So now you can shoot your first buck out of it tonight or whenever.
I think we'll do that.
Enjoy it, man.
Appreciate it. Man, that's not too heavy.
That's not too bad.
Yeah. Cool.
And man, the bugs are atrocious here, folks. I don't know if you're seeing them flying around the screen, but wow, I got out of the car and it was like a swarm around me. So, John, I wish you the best, and Team Men of Faith, good luck to you guys, and we will see how you do on the Map Reading Challenge. Mr. John, the end of night one, hunt one. What happened for you?
Well, I get out there and I tried the new climber you gave me. It took me a little while to get the hang of it. Aaron told me, it's first time, so just take your time with it. So that's what I did. Eventually, I got it up there and hauled up my bow and my backpack, and I got my camera strapped to the tree. And next thing I know, my backpack falls. And it's on the ground. It's got everything. Pretty much except, I had my bow and my release and my camera. So I had the essentials, but I had my power bank. My phone died, so I couldn't charge my phone. Had my headlamp, and when it hit the ground, the headlamp bounced out and then busted open, and it didn't work. So I was trying to pick everything up in the dark. That wasn't fun. And that was about it. I didn't see nothing, didn't hear nothing, except it rained a lot, and heard a lot of acorns dropping.
Well, hopefully tomorrow's a different story for you, John.
Oh yeah, man, there's always tomorrow. No problem.
Well, things didn't work out for John the first night of the hunt. So the next day, I actually set him up in a couple spots. And that's one of the things about the map reading challenges. There's a lot of guys that I kind of mentor through this whole thing. John was one of those guys I was trying to help, teach him some of the ropes, get him going with the deer hunting and things. So I set him up in a spot in the following morning and the following evening. Let's check in with John to get a little feedback on how things went in those hunts. All right, John, full day down. Tell me what happened today.
Well, I started this morning, had a doe kind of just popped out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it to come out of where it was coming from. And I must have been moving when it popped out of the thicket. And next thing I know, it's staring right at me, and it's pounding its front hooves and licking its nose and kind of sniffing around in the air trying to get my scent. The wind was right in my face, so I was good with that. So she took off to the left a little bit and was really slow, and I thought she was going to circle around behind me to try to win me, but she went back around to where she came from, and then I heard her snorting and just letting everybody know that I was there. So that was blown. And then the evening hunt, I was walking out to a nice area where there's two trails that come together. And on my way there, I saw big old giant buck scat. Yes, sorry. And I was like, it was very fresh. It was steaming. Flies are flying all over it. And I'm like, oh man, there's some big bucks around here somewhere. So I was expecting to see something, but I didn't hear nothing, didn't see nothing, didn't smell nothing. So
seems like they're moving more in the morning and even late morning.
Exactly. I think they're going in the morning, like the late morning, and it seems like the early afternoon, maybe around 3 or 4 or something like that. I don't know. It's weird.
All right, well, let's see what tomorrow brings.
All righty.
After I was watching the footage putting this video together, I saw that the deer was a fawn and it still had spots. In real time, as this was all going down, I don't think John saw that at all. I mean, first of all, he's never even had a shot at a deer. He never even drew his bow back at a deer before, or maybe had a close encounter with a deer while hunting. So he sees a deer, he's trying to video, he got this little itty bitty video screen. He's just trying to do all this stuff as a brand new hunter. It's a lot to take on. And so he's swinging over here, he goes to take that shot, starts to draw and clicks his release. That's why I always train people when I'm teaching them archery, put your finger behind the trigger, so that it's not touching it at all. I actually put forward pressure so that it can't go off. So that's something that obviously John learned, but I think it all worked out providentially because, it's exciting to get your first deer, but I think a lot of people would probably feel bad if they shot a fawn with spots as their first deer, not realizing it was a fawn. So I think it all worked out. John might have fallen into that category, and I didn't want that to take away from his first harvest. But the cool thing is, he got to experience all that. Now he knows what he's up against, that buck fever. And okay, I have to learn how to handle that and manage that and overcome that to be effective in a hunting situation. So, I was really happy for John, because that's important experiences to have that you can really think about and replay in your mind to help you moving forward. One of the best teachers, actually probably the best teacher, is always firsthand experience. So I was happy for John to get that close to a deer finally. Now let's talk to John at the conclusion of the map reading challenge to get some feedback from him on how it all went.
Yes.
All right, quiet on set. John Klopp, congratulations on your first. I missed your hand there. I hate when I do that. Congratulations on your first completed map reading challenge. I know you didn't get any activity tonight, but this morning you had some action. Tell me about leading right up to the time of the shot and what took place there.
All right, so I'm sitting there right around 8 a.m. and I hear some rustling to my right, and I look over and I see a doe coming up the hill.
Right.
Heading towards the road behind me. And so I'm like, oh man, that's cool. I see a deer,
Right.
It's exciting to see a deer at all. And so she's heading towards the road, and then she kind of stops and turns around and heads back the way she came.
Right.
And she stops for a little bit, and she's kind of obscured behind a tree, so I can't really tell what she's doing. And next thing I know, she starts moving, and she hits a cross trail that runs in front of me about 10 yards, and she turns left and comes towards me on that trail. And I'm like going, wow, man, this is exciting, because she's coming towards me and I think I'm going to get a shot.
So you just get that buck fever, your
Yes.
heart's pounding and everything.
I was shaking.
Generally, yeah, you're shaking, yep.
Heart's thumping, and I was
Nothing like it.
oh, I've seen that before, and I'm like, man, I wonder if that will happen to me, and
Yep.
it sure did. But so anyway, she's coming towards me on the trail, and I'm following her with the camera, and next thing I know, a truck is coming down the road, a really loud truck, and it kind of startles her. So she starts kind of trotting towards my way on the trail, and then she like turns and is coming right at me.
Wow.
And I'm like thinking, oh man, I gotta stop, following her with the camera and get ready to shoot.
Right.
So I put my release on my bow, and I start pulling back, but I forgot to put my finger behind the trigger. And next thing I know, my arrow launches as I'm pulling back, and shoots right, kind of like over her in front of her, about 30 yards past her. And I was like watching that red luminance just sail, and I'm like thinking, there was my shot.
There goes your shot.
But it was so exciting.
Yeah,
I just couldn't believe it.
Well, I'm happy you almost had that opportunity. I mean, that's a step in the right direction.
Exactly.
And now you got to learn how to control. That's something that every
Yeah.
hunter needs to learn how to do, is control that buck fever.
It's a progression.
But
it seems
I'd
like.
say if there's one thing that you really learned, well, first of all, did you learn some stuff while you're here?
I learned a lot of
Okay.
stuff.
What would be the most important thing that you're gonna really take home with you from this? Just what's that one? If there's one thing you could say to other people that you learned that you would suggest other people think about, what would that
Well,
be?
the first thing is, because this is called a map reading challenge, is to learn how to read maps.
Right.
You learn how to detect where the bucks or the does or where you're going to travel along ridge lines or go up and down spurs and
Right.
draws and stuff like that. I mean, you're well on your way to
Yeah.
being able to get some deer.
Right.
And then the next thing I would say would be just being patient and,
Yeah.
and staying in your stand or wherever you're at,
Yeah.
and not, kind of,
Yeah,
because it seems a lot of times those deer come just when you're
Right.
getting
Well,
ready to
I
give
put
up.
you in the stand. What was it? The first morning, and I said I encountered a deer there at 11 o'clock last
Yes.
year. And what time did
Last
that deer?
year.
Yeah.
Just right before 11 o'clock.
Yep. So right around that time. So
Yeah.
that's kind of.
That was-
But you got to hang in there, So
Exactly.
you're right. So that's
exactly.
cool. Well, John, I appreciate you coming all the way up from Florida.
Yeah, man.
My goodness, we love having you. And,
I love coming.
you know,
it was such a great time.
And I'm looking forward to hearing the story when you get your first deer, John.
Oh, you will.
Good luck to
Probably
good luck
send you a
to
video.
That'll be awesome.
Cool.
Take care, man.
All right.
Congratulations
God bless.
on your first encounter today. Folks, I want to thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Map Reading Challenge. I'm really happy for John, and I'm excited for him moving forward. I can't wait to hear from him when he does get that first deer under his belt. And I mean, that's just going to be an exciting day. And remember, John's total score for winning the Bowtech Range 6 it really, a lot of it depends now on how many views he gets on his scout trip video and on this video. And those numbers will also help his team win the XOP Air Raid Hang on Tree Stand. So if you want to help out John, share this video around, get it out to your friends and family, ask them to check it out, and vote for John through the Map Reading Challenge page of my website. All that goes into the total score for winning that Bowtech and the XOP. Stay tuned, because next we have one of my personal favorites, Aaron Jones, because he's been somebody who's been following my channel for a long time. He's shown me so much support, and I've just really been blessed to know Aaron all these years. So I'm excited to bring forth Aaron's video. So stay tuned for that. It's coming up next. Until then, take care and God bless.